Chapter 1081. Yeah, I've been waiting the whole morning, but there isn't news yet, Orissa answered. Benjamin glanced over when he heard that. Meeting his eyes, Orissa blinked and said, "Go back to your class, sweetheart. Don't worry about me." Only then did Zachary answer reluctantly, "Don't worry, Mommy. Mr. Patterson is incredible. Everything will be fine." "Okay, go back to class now and don't skip your classes." "Bye, Mommy," responded Zachary before hanging up. When Orissa put down the phone, she smiled as she thought of the little boy. "He actually secretly gave me a call." Benjamin got up and poured her a glass of water. "I told you to rest, yet you talked on the phone for so long." "It was Zachary, so I talked to him for a while." "It wasn't very long anyway." Benjamin placed the glass to her lips. "Why were you talking to him when he's skipping class?" Orissa chuckled. "He says the class is boring because he knows everything already. That's why he got out to go to the restroom." After taking the glass of water, she waved her hand dismissively. "Go get busy. There's no need to bother about me." Benjamin eyed her. "Do you need to go to the bathroom?" "Nope." Orissa shook her head. Benjamin waited for her to finish the water and helped her put the glass away before returning to his work. Half an hour later, just as Orissa was about to doze off to sleep, Benjamin's phone rang. Orissa went wide awake and looked in his direction. "Yes. Has it ended?" asked Benjamin upon answering the phone. Orissa's gaze was still fixed on him. "It must be someone from the court." "Okay." A look of satisfaction appeared in Benjamin's eyes. "We're at the hospital where Sean is." The moment he hung up, Orissa asked impatiently, "How did it go?" Benjamin glanced at her before approaching her and taking a seat by her bed. "Quick, tell me," Orissa urged, feeling anxious. Benjamin curled his lips and pinched her nose. "Danna's given a life sentence." Orissa's eyes went side with surprise. "Really? I told you. Nothing will go wrong when Jonathan's handling it." "Still, you didn't believe me. Do you feel better now?" Only then did Orissa smile and sigh with relief. That woman's finally getting punished. Benjamin stroked her head when his phone rang again. It was from Ethan. He picked it up and walked to the side. He instructed Ethan, "Get people to expose Danna's court results." He wanted Danna's reputation to be ruined, including the Adams families. "Thank you," Orissa said gratefully. Benjamin walked over to her side and ruffled her hair. "Silly, why are you being so polite to me?" Orissa smiled. "It's so great that he's helping me and the kids to get revenge." "Darling," she called out all of a sudden. "Yes." Benjamin's spirits lifted. "Come here." Orissa waved him over, her eyes sparkling. Benjamin leaned closer to her. Orissa sat up on the bed and kissed him. "Thank you for taking revenge on our behalf." Giving her an affectionate smile, Benjamin said, "It's what I should do. How am I still a man if I can't protect you and the kids?" Orissa gazed at him dreamily. "You're so cool." Benjamin's eyes gleamed. Just as he leaned closer to kiss her, Orissa's phone rang. "It's Bradley." Orissa smiled awkwardly before answering the phone. Benjamin had no choice but to suppress the desire in his heart. Chapter 1082. Bradley. Orissa called out. Bradley hummed a response before asking, "Boss, why did you call me just now?" "Oh, it's nothing," Orissa responded when she saw Benjamin still staring at her. Unaware of her knowledge regarding the matter, Bradley informed, "Boss, I went to the court today. Danna's given a life sentence. I just heard about it, too." Orissa was in a good mood. Now that the criminal had been punished, she felt as if a huge weight had been lifted off her chest. "Boss, you called me because of this, right?" Bradley guessed belatedly. "Yeah." Orissa laughed. "I'll pay you a visit later. You get some rest," Bradley said hurriedly. "I've been transferred to Sean's hospital. Just come over here if you're visiting," Orissa said. "Okay. See you later." Bradley dared not prolong the conversation for fear of disrupting her rest. After putting away her phone, Orissa noticed Benjamin was still sitting beside her. Immediately, a glint flashed past her eyes. "Why are you looking at me?" With his eyes fixed on her, Benjamin muttered jealously, "You seem friendly with him." Orissa's lips twitched. She scrutinized him before asking, "Are you jealous?" Benjamin simply snorted and averted his gaze. Orissa could not help but laugh at his cute behavior. Grabbing his hand and swaying it, she said, "Don't be angry. I'll be more friendly with you in the future." Her gentle and sweet tone made Benjamin feel much better. He said in a deep voice, "Get some rest." Orissa nodded and lay obediently on the bed. Benjamin leaned forward and kissed her forehead before returning to his work. Not long after, Edwin brought lunch over. Benjamin ate with Orissa. As soon as they finished their meal, Jonathan, Ethan, and Bradley arrived. Jonathan went forward and asked, "Orissa, are you feeling better?" "Yeah, Benjamin's just worried, so I'm staying here for a few more days," Orissa said to them. "Danna's case is closed. She's given a life sentence, so you don't have to worry about it anymore," Jonathan informed. "Thank you, Mr. Patterson," Orissa said. Jonathan was the biggest reason Danna was given a life sentence. "Don't worry about it, Orissa. Besides, I get paid well when it's Benjamin who asks me for help." The smile on Jonathan's stern expression made him look more friendly. "It's what you deserve. You've helped us a great deal." Jonathan glanced at Benjamin, who kept his hands in his pocket. Benjamin said, "My family and I will treat you to a meal when my wife's discharged." Orissa agreed, "Yes, we've got to thank you properly, Mr. Patterson. You can just call me Jonathan. Anyway, I shall not disturb your rest. I've got something to talk to Benjamin about," Jonathan said before walking off to the side to talk to Benjamin. Bradley and Ethan, too, asked Orissa about her well-being before recounting everything that happened at the court. They did not return the call in time because the complaint was too long. After that, Jonathan debated with the other party. Their evidence was accurate and sufficient. Danna's lawyer was not Jonathan's match. For some reason, the lawyer Danna had hired originally, who was as powerful as Jonathan, had suddenly refused to accept the case. That was why everything had gone so smoothly. After listening to their stories, Orissa finally understood why they did not answer their phones. "Thank you both for today. I'll get Benjamin to treat you to a meal tonight. Let's have lunch, boss." "We haven't eaten yet," Bradley suggested with a grin. "That works too." Orissa could not be more grateful that they had rushed over right after everything was settled. Coincidentally, Benjamin and Jonathan had finished their conversation. Orissa said to Benjamin, "Take them out for lunch. They haven't eaten yet." Benjamin turned to the trio and nodded. Chapter 1083. Right then, Sean entered, only to be surprised by the sight of them. "You're all here." Jonathan threw him a glance. "We've just arrived. Didn't you go to court today? How did it end so soon? What's the result?" Sean had come to the room to ask Benjamin upon remembering about it. He did not expect Jonathan to have arrived as well. "Take a guess," Jonathan teased with a serious expression. Scanning the crowd's expressions, Sean smiled. "You must have won. Otherwise, it'll be a huge blow to your reputation." Everyone burst out laughing. When the laughter died down, Orissa said to Benjamin, "Hurry up and take them out for a meal. It's late. It's almost 1. It'll be 2 by the time the dishes are served." "I haven't eaten, too." Sean flashed Benjamin a smile. Benjamin shot him a look before saying to Ethan, "Take them out for a meal." "Got it, Mr. Graham." With that, Ethan ushered everyone to grab a meal. "Aren't you coming?" Sean asked Benjamin. "I'm not free. I want to keep my wife company." Benjamin did not intend to take them out for lunch personally. Both Sean and Jonathan were exasperated when they saw that arrogant look on Benjamin's face. "What on earth? What's the big deal about having a wife?" Orissa gaped at Benjamin speechlessly. "He said yes just now, didn't he? Go with them. I can stay here on my own. I've eaten. I'll only be watching them eat if I go. I'll keep you company here," Benjamin said gently while gesturing at Ethan to take them out. "Forget about him. Let's go. I'm famished," Sean said with a chuckle. He placed an arm around Jonathan's shoulders as they walked out. "Let's go." Jonathan immediately shrugged Sean's arm off and threw the latter a glare before saying goodbye to Benjamin and Orissa. Only then did he leave. Sean hurried after Jonathan with a grin. "How many years did that woman get?" Jonathan looked askance at him. "Didn't you say I'm amazing just now? Do you still have to ask that?" Hee, I'm not sure. That's why I'm asking you to confirm it. After removing his white coat, Sean hung it on his elbow and asked the rest, where are we going to eat? Ethan asked with a smile, where would you like to go, Mr. Patterson? Sean shot Ethan a look of resentment. Why aren't you asking me? How would he know where to go? Jonathan was rendered speechless. Let's just find a place nearby, he suggested. It's already so late. It'll only be torture for us to travel somewhere far. I'll look for one. Ethan and Bradley each took out their phones and searched for the nearest restaurant. No one bothered to ask for Sean's opinion. Hey, why aren't you guys asking me? I know a place that serves good food, Sean said. They simply glanced at him. Then Ethan and Bradley continued searching on the internet. What the? Sean harumphed angrily and stopped talking. We're eating together, anyway. I won't be the only one suffering if the food tastes bad. Seeing that Sean was mad, Jonathan smirked. Why haven't you eaten yet? Sean glowered at him without saying anything. And you invited yourself, Jonathan teased. He then said to Ethan, don't bring this freeloader along, Ethan. Sean glared at them. Don't cross the line, Jonathan. Besides, you guys aren't paying the bill. It's Benjamin who's paying. I know of a good place, but you guys are ignoring me. Ethan chuckled and simply asked, tell us, then. Where is this place, Mr. Bailey? Sean's eyes lit up instantly. I forgot the name. I'll take you guys there. The location doesn't matter. What matters is that we get to eat earlier. Bradley turned to them. Since you're not so picky about food, maybe you should just eat at the fast food stall near the hospital entrance. Sean smirked. Words eluded Bradley. Chapter 1084. Orissa glanced at Benjamin, who was still hanging out in the ward. I told you to bring them out for a meal. Why are you still here? Benjamin took a seat and pinched her cheek. It's the same if Ethan takes them out. They're not strangers, anyway. They won't mind. They've helped us settle something major. We should treat them to a good meal. There's still time to treat them when you've recovered. Benjamin stared fixedly at her. Orissa nodded. I want to use the bathroom. Benjamin removed Orissa's blanket, took the jacket at the side, and placed it over her before lifting her up. Orissa quickly grabbed the drip. Benjamin then waited for her to finish using the bathroom before carrying her out. When she was finally lying comfortably on the bed, he tucked her in. Recalling she had not gotten any rest since morning, Benjamin urged, get some rest. Okay, Orissa nodded. Indeed, she was feeling a little sleepy. Benjamin waited for her to be asleep before continuing with his work. At that moment, both Zayden and Vivian were waiting downstairs outside Darius' ward. They were stopped by the bodyguards. Sorry, old Mr. Graham isn't seeing anyone. How do you know that when you haven't informed him? Vivian was losing her patience. Her daughter had been given a life sentence. If they did not beg Darius for mercy, Danna's life would be ruined. Sorry, please go home, said the bodyguard impassively. Zayden took one look at them and frowned. He grabbed Vivian's arm and yelled respectfully toward the room, old Mr. Graham. Seeing that, the bodyguards knitted their brows. Is Mr. Adams going to create a ruckus? Mr. Adams, please do not disturb old Mr. Graham. He's resting, the captain of the bodyguards warned. Ignoring the advice, Zayden continued shouting, old Mr. Graham, we know Danna was wrong. You watched her grow up, remember? Please help her. The bodyguards exchanged glances and wondered if they should report it to Benjamin. Let them in. Darius' voice rang out. The bodyguards had no choice but to let the couple in. As they stepped in, they noticed Darius lying on the bed with William standing by his side. Neither of them greeted the visitors. Zayden mustered his courage and went forward to greet Darius politely. Old Mr. Graham, Darius asked coldly, what do you want? He had heard the noise outside. Old Mr. Graham, Danna. Vivian halted when she met Darius' gaze. Old Mr. Graham, you watched Danna grow up. She knows her mistake already. Could you talk to Benjamin on our behalf? Begged Zayden hurriedly, pinning his hopes on Darius. Darius snapped, I made myself very clear last time. This is none of my business. Danna had schemed against them. Not only did she not know her mistake, but she also kidnapped the children. Darius did not have such a big heart to forgive someone so terrible. Please help her. If not, her life will be ruined. Zayden was truly worried about Danna. After all, he only had one daughter. Darius scoffed, she ruined it herself. Don't put the blame on us. She wouldn't have ended up like this if she hadn't attacked my grandchildren. Darius was annoyed by their shameless behavior. Danna did such a foolish thing because she lost her senses. Besides, the kids are fine. She really knows her mistake now. Just teach her a lesson. She's our only daughter. Vivian begged Darius. Fine. Darius glowered at her. So you're saying she's innocent? One needs to pay the price for their crime. Get lost. He threw a glass across the room. Seeing that, William stepped up and gestured for them to leave. You two should go. Hearing the commotion, the bodyguards entered and warned, we're going to take action if you don't. Only then did the couple leave the ward. Chapter 1085. What a heartless man. Was he pretending the whole time when he was being nice to us? Fumed Vivian as she stepped into the elevator. He used to treat Danna so well but is turning on her now. What are we going to do now that he's refused to help us? What else can we do? We've asked everyone we could. There's nothing else we can do now unless Benjamin lets it go, stated Zayden grimly. Danna gripped his arm in desperation. Darling, why don't we try begging Benjamin? After all, he used to be nice to Danna. To beg him, we'll first need to meet him, but he's not answering our calls at the moment and is totally unreachable. Besides, he's now with that woman. What makes you think he cares what happens to Danna? If Benjamin cared about Danna, he wouldn't have allowed Jonathan to be so harsh on her, causing our side to be at a total disadvantage in court earlier. Zayden was just as anxious, but he was at a loss too. Tears sprang forth in Vivian's eyes as she exclaimed, does that mean Danna will have to go to prison? That poor girl, she's my only daughter. Seeing as Darius declined to help, she had little hope that Benjamin would react any differently. What a ruthless bunch of folks. It's all that bitch's fault. If it weren't for her, none of these would have happened to Danna. Before that bitch came back, Danna was fine. If only I could send her to prison myself. Resentment flashed across Vivian's eyes as she thought about Orissa. Zayden's expression was equally unpleasant. Let's not talk about this first, and you should tone down a little. We may still have a chance if we can meet them and plead with them personally. Let's do that now, then. We have no time to lose, urged Vivian, her eyes burning with desperation. They were both at their wits' ends since Benjamin and Orissa refused to meet them. They had thought that hiring a lawyer would exonerate Danna, but they did not expect that the lawyer would catch them off their guard by changing his mind at the last minute. Above all, they did not expect that Danna would receive such a heavy sentence. Their last resort now was to find Benjamin and Orissa. Maybe if we approach them with a good attitude, they may show some mercy and let Danna go. The person they were so desperately looking for was, in fact, in the same hospital. However, being unaware of that, the couple went to Graham Group instead. The moment Ethan received the phone call from the office, he knew at once what those two were playing at. Don't let them enter the office, he instructed. In the ward, Darius had a dark expression on his face. Old Mr. Graham, don't work yourself up over those people. They're purely shameless, William coaxed despite being just as furious himself. Get me a glass of water, ordered Darius, waving his hand. William hurriedly poured him a glass of warm water and passed it to him. Be careful, old Mr. Graham. It's hot. Darius took the glass and sipped on the water. Benjamin isn't back from his business trip yet. No, answered William, shaking his head. He snuck a glance at Darius as the latter took another sip of water and did not dare mention that Orissa was hospitalized. If Edwin hadn't let it slip earlier, he might not even have been aware of it himself. Although it was good news that Orissa was pregnant, since she was hospitalized due to an unstable pregnancy, it was better to keep this news from Darius in the meantime. Why isn't he back yet? Weren't they very anxious about Danna's case? Darius thought it was odd. Don't worry about this, old Mr. Graham. You should have a good rest. I'll be sure to let you know at once when Mr. Graham and Mrs. Graham are back, William reassured. Taking the glass from Darius' hand, he thought about whether to pay Orissa a visit. However, in the end, he decided that it might not be the best idea to leave Darius alone in the ward. Instead, he merely stepped outside to call Benjamin to inform the latter about Zayden's recent visit. To his surprise, Benjamin was also in the hospital. William quickly went upstairs to look for him while Darius was sleeping. "Mr. Graham," he greeted in a low voice, glancing at the sleeping Orissa with concern. "Let's speak outside." Benjamin stood up at once and headed out of the ward. Chapter 1086. "Mr. Graham, is Mrs. Graham feeling better?" asked William worriedly. "She's much better. She could have been discharged today, but I had her stay another couple of days in the hospital," responded Benjamin in reassurance. "That's good, then." William was visibly relieved. "Oh, by the way, Zayden came over to look for old Mr. Graham earlier. It was very upsetting for old Mr. Graham. Is Dad all right?" Benjamin's brows knitted into a frown. "Zayden, that man just doesn't know when to give up. He's better now and has fallen asleep," reported William and subsequently explained briefly the happenings earlier. Benjamin's face darkened. Glancing at Orissa and seeing that she was still sound asleep, he snuck a visit to Darius' ward with William. After seeing with his own eyes that Darius looked fine and was sleeping soundly, he finally felt relieved. He hung around in the ward for a moment before exiting, instructing the bodyguards to guard the door well. Then he turned to William, reminding him, "Don't let my dad know that I've been here." "Yes, Mr. Graham," William agreed at once. "Old Mr. Graham was just asking when you and Mrs. Graham would be back." "In another couple of days," uttered Benjamin tersely as he shot a final glance at the ward and then turned to leave. William gazed at him until he stepped into the elevator before going back into the ward to look after Darius. By the time Benjamin returned to the ward upstairs, Orissa had awakened and was just about to use the bathroom. As Benjamin entered the room, she asked, "Where have you been?" Seeing her trying to get out of bed, Benjamin strode toward her at once and bent down to help her with her shoes. "I went downstairs to have a look at Dad." Smiling, Orissa hooked her arms around his neck, and he scooped her up in his arms. "How's Dad? Is he any better?" Orissa was concerned about Darius' state of health. "Yeah, it's just that Zayden and Vivian came to see him earlier." William said that got him worked up quite a bit. Orissa's brow furrowed into a frown as hatred surfaced in her eyes. How dare they still come to see Dad? What a shameless couple. But Dad didn't entertain them and told them to leave. Benjamin stroked her head soothingly when he saw the anger on her face. Orissa used to be uncertain about Darius' attitude, but now, she was willing to believe that he would not help the Adams family. Yes, Dad definitely wouldn't bother about them. Otherwise, he would have said something. If Danna had not crossed the line, it was still possible that Darius might have helped her for the sake of the good relationship they used to have. However, some people were simply doomed to destruction because of their own evil actions and poor decisions. She asked for this. "Let's not talk about this now," said Benjamin as they arrived at the bathroom. Orissa hurriedly relieved herself and allowed him to carry her back to the bed. "I could have just walked." "No, you mustn't walk until you've fully recovered," stated Benjamin in a non-negotiable tone. Glancing at the domineering man, Orissa replied docilely, "I know that. Didn't I wait for you to return just now?" Benjamin glared at her. "HMPH. Don't think I didn't notice that you were trying to go to the bathroom yourself earlier." Orissa stuck out her tongue cheekily and replied in a soft voice, "Well, I didn't know where you went." Lying back down on the bed, she gazed at the man silently, feeling a sense of warmth spreading through her heart. "What are you looking at?" Benjamin flicked her nose affectionately. "Why don't we go home now?" Orissa suggested. She knew that he wouldn't be able to work if he spent all day keeping her company in the hospital. "We've talked about this. You'll stay here for another few days until you've fully recovered." Benjamin pinched her cheek lightly. Orissa pouted. "Yes, I know. I'm just worried that you'll be tired. You won't be able to work if you stay here with me all day." The edges of Benjamin's thin lips lifted slightly. "Don't you worry about my work. I'll attend to the urgent matters and hand the rest to Ethan and the others. They'll be fine without me." "Then why are you always so busy?" she asked with her gaze fixated on him. She knew more than anyone else what a workaholic he was. Benjamin looked deeply into her eyes, his heart brimming with contentment. That was before I met you. Now that I have you, my life has become much more interesting. A blush instantly crept onto Arissa's face. Chapter 1087. Benjamin's eyes flickered as he flicked her nose again. Look who's blushing, he teased, gazing at her dotingly. Arissa glared at him in exasperation and retorted indignantly, I'm not. Aren't you? Benjamin leaned over intimately, his hot breath brushing against her cheeks as he spoke. Arissa's heart fluttered as she caught a whiff of the seductive scent on his body. She turned away in embarrassment as she repeated softly, I'm not. Seeing her embarrassed yet stubborn expression, Benjamin merely smiled in amusement and did not pick on her anymore. He reached out to pull up her covers for her and uttered in a gentle tone, you should get some sleep. I'll stop teasing you now. Arissa gazed at him with a smile gracing her lips as he stood up and walked away. Meanwhile, at Graham Group, Zayden and Vivian were still waiting downstairs, thinking that Benjamin was in the office. Ethan returned to the hospital after having lunch with Sean and the others and received a phone call from the office. After hearing that Zayden was still waiting downstairs, he chuckled mockingly. However, he did not inform Benjamin about this since the latter appeared to be busy. He also did not think it was necessary to risk ruining Benjamin's mood over something so trivial. Sean and Jonathan took a look at Arissa. Since she was resting, they decided not to disturb her and soon left. Benjamin lifted his gaze, looking toward Bradley, who was still standing there. Yes, anything. Taken aback by his sharp gaze and stern voice, Bradley shuddered unwittingly as he stammered, and no. Nothing. Smiling sheepishly, he then fled from the ward. As for Ethan, he followed Bradley out of the ward as well, as he had to return to the office to settle some work matters. Aren't you leaving? He asked Bradley. I'm leaving in another while to pick up the kids, said Bradley, shrugging nonchalantly. Benjamin cocked a brow. Well, just don't go back in to bother Mr. Graham. He doesn't want to see you. Bradley didn't know what to say in response. Ethan chuckled. If you're bored, you can come back with me to the office. Zayden and his wife are waiting at the entrance there, which is pretty annoying. What are they waiting for? Are they hoping to beg for mercy from Mr. Graham? Bradley boiled with rage. Who do they think they are? They're just like Miss Adams, arrogant and disgusting. Looks like the apple really doesn't fall far from the tree. I'll go back to the office with you. With that, Bradley went with Ethan. When they arrived at Graham Group, Zayden and Vivian were indeed still there. Zayden immediately approached Ethan. Ethan, is Benjamin in the office? Please pass him the word that I would like to see him. As Zayden was asking for a favor, his tone was polite and humble, but the same could not be said about the expression in his eyes. Do you think he should meet you just because you want him to? Do you really have no shame? Bradley reproached derisively. Don't even think about begging for mercy from Mr. Graham. The fact that he hasn't done anything to you himself is already an act of mercy. If you continue to bother us here, don't blame us for being ruthless. Get lost. Seeing Bradley erupting with anger, Ethan couldn't help the smile that crept onto his lips. Who are you? What makes you think you can talk to us like that? Zayden's face was black as thunder, and he did not bother being courteous toward Bradley. Look at their attitude. I dare say if their family has a stronger background, they will definitely destroy us all. What a joke. Their daughter turns out to be a criminal, yet they're here being all snobbish and trying to beg for mercy on her behalf. Did they take us all for fools? What makes them think that after they've harmed someone, the victim's family members should forgive them? People like them should be severely punished by the law. Bradley turned toward Ethan, dissing the couple heatedly and without pause, giving them no opportunity to interject. Zayden's and Vivian's unpleasant expressions intensified. Before they could say another word, however, Ethan urged them to leave. Mr. Graham is not going to see you. You'd better leave. If you stay here and continue affecting our company's operations, we're going to have to call the cops. That's right. Scram, snapped Bradley, shooting daggers at the two. What the hell is wrong with you? Vivian could not help but swear at him. Chapter 1088. What the hell is wrong with me? I don't know, but I definitely know that you're all pieces of trash. If you don't leave immediately, I'm going to call the cops on you. You'll get to reunite in jail as a family. Bradley mocked. You. Vivian fumed. Get lost. Ethan snapped, a gloomy look in his eyes. When Xaden realized Ethan and Bradley were not going to be persuaded otherwise, he quickly towed Vivian away. Don't pull me away. How can he lord over us like that? He's just a dog of the Graham family. Vivian snarled, unable to take that in silence. Bradley narrowed his eyes and dashed over to slap Vivian. Vivian's head snapped to the side from the force, and blood seeped out from the corner of her lips. Xaden had never thought Bradley would hit her. He could not stop the latter in time. What a load of rubbish from you. Do you still think the Addams family is a wealthy family? You guys are worse than animals. Bradley stared at the couple in disdain. How could you hit her? Xaden shouted at Bradley and pulled his wife closer to him when he came back to his senses. Where are your manners? What manners do I need when it's you I'm facing? So it's rude when I hit her, but it isn't rude when this old bitch swears at me. Bradley replied as he glared at them tauntingly, seemingly ready to fight if Xaden tried to hit him. Who did you just call an old bitch? Vivian pointed at Bradley in fury. Bradley curled his lips. You, obviously. What can you do about it? Meanwhile, Ethan was inwardly praising Bradley for having the courage to hit Vivian. That was the only effective way to deal with people like Vivian. I'm going to tear you to pieces. Vivian was about to lunge over to attack Bradley. She had never suffered such humiliation in her life. Xaden quickly stopped her. That's enough. There was no chance of them winning, and engaging in a fight would only make the men gain even more of an upper hand over them. Darling, he hit and humiliated me, but you're stopping me. I'm going to fight him to death. Bradley folded his arms and looked provokingly at the couple. Come on, I'm not afraid of you. This isn't over, was the last thing Xaden hissed at Bradley before giving him a glare and pulling Vivian away. That's it, you're just going to leave. Bradley yelled at them. Xaden's face contorted into a vicious expression as he led Vivian into the car. Vivian covered her face and wept, seeking solace in Xaden's embrace. Darling, are we going to let him go just like that? Don't worry, I'm going to settle the score with him. Don't cry, we won't win here, Xaden reassured her, tightening his grip and swearing revenge on Bradley. Glaring at Bradley, who was outside, Vivian uttered, where did this bastard come from? How dare he hit me? I'm going to teach him a lesson once I get my hands on him. Alas, Bradley did not fear their grudge at all. He draped his arm around Ethan's shoulders and went inside the Graham Group building. How did I do earlier? Bradley asked, fishing for compliments. Ethan chuckled. Not bad. What made you think of hitting Mrs. Addams? She insulted me. I won't be able to do her foul mouth justice if I don't hit her, Bradley mocked with a laugh. Aren't you afraid that she'll take revenge on you? You must have crossed plenty of people by working for Mr. Graham. Are you afraid that they'll take revenge on you? Ethan found sense in Bradley's words, but as far as he knew, Benjamin was more powerful than Arissa. All right, come to me if you need any help, Ethan offered. Bradley's lips twitched. He then retracted the arm he had around Ethan's shoulder and shoved both hands into his pockets. No need, I can deal with this myself. If they dare to mess with me, I'm going to show them. No mercy. It's best to be careful. They're rather cruel, Ethan reminded, not wanting him to be overconfident. Chapter 1089. In the afternoon, the 6 children asked the bodyguards to send them to the hospital once their classes were over. Darius was strolling in the hospital garden with William. When he saw the children, he promptly returned to his ward. However, he did not see the children in the ward. Thinking that they were with Mary, Darius said to the butler, let's go over to her side. I'm sure they're there. Something flashed past William's eyes, and he glanced at Darius. However, Darius did not notice it. Old Mr. Graham. Mary quickly put down the sweater she was knitting when she saw the man. She would knit sweaters for the children when she was bored in the hospital. Aren't Gavin and others here in the hospital? Are they not with you? Darius asked, a little disappointed, when he saw no sign of the children. They're here. I didn't see them, Mary said as she invited Darius to the couch. I saw them downstairs. I just came up, but I don't see them around. Did they go to Sean's? Darius guessed, frowning. Mary smiled. That's possible. Take a seat first. They'll probably come in a bit. Darius nodded, then turned to the butler. Go look for them in Sean's office. William bowed and answered, of course. I'll go right away. He hastily left the room and headed toward the elevator. However, instead of going to Sean's office, he went upstairs. Orissa was awake, and she was leaning against the headboard, reading. When she heard a set of footsteps outside, her eyes lit up. Which room is Mommy in? I don't know. We need to ask the bodyguards about it. The bodyguards were standing guard at the doors of the elevator, and the children ran back to them to ask which room their mother was in. Benjamin, I think the kids are here. Go and take a look outside, Orissa said to the man, who was working. Benjamin glanced at her before heading to the door to open it. The moment Benjamin poked his head out to the corridor, he saw the children running toward him. His gaze softened. Daddy, Mr. Graham. The 6 children looked adorable. Benjamin patted their heads and asked, who sent you here? We asked the bodyguards to send us here, Gavin answered. Benjamin nodded and moved aside to let them in. Come in. Your mommy's been waiting for you. The 6 children rushed over. They were thrilled to see Orissa, and they launched themselves at her. Mommy. Yes, sweethearts. Orissa hugged them, her heart melting. She breathed in their scents and felt so much better. It had been a day since the children had seen her, so they continued hugging her for a while. Mommy, are you feeling much better? Gavin asked in concern. Much better. Didn't Zachary tell you about it? I was supposed to be discharged from the hospital today, but your daddy admitted me to the hospital again. Orissa told them as she pinched Gavin's nose. The children chuckled, and Jasper said sweetly, Zachary told us about it, but we could only be at ease after seeing you in person. Mommy, why aren't you lying down? Didn't the doctor say that you have to lie down? Jessie reminded softly, staring at her mother. Orissa pinched the girl's cheek. I felt uncomfortable after sleeping so much, so I'm sitting upright for a while. Mommy, let me give you a massage. Oliver offered, throwing his bag aside. Sure. Mommy, me too. Zachary quickly put down his bag and clambered onto the bed with his brother to give her a massage. The rest of the children followed suit. Chapter 1090. Benjamin watched the children climb onto the bed before reminding them, don't crush your mommy. The children turned back to him before adjusting their positions. There were 2 children by Orissa's side and 2 by her feet. She lay comfortably on the bed as the children gave her a massage. Mommy, does it feel good? It does. Orissa smiled at the children. How was school today, Mommy? The children then took turns telling her about the interesting things that happened to them at school, and Orissa enjoyed every moment of it. Benjamin poured glasses of water for the children before putting them on the coffee table. Come over and have some water. The children did not move and continued talking to Orissa. Orissa chuckled. Only when they were about to finish their stories did she remind them, your daddy's asking you to have some water. Go on. All right, Mommy. Gavin led the rest of his siblings down the bed to put on their shoes. Slow down, Orissa said, keeping a close eye on the children, afraid that they would fall. The children nodded. Once they put on their shoes, they ran over to get their drinks. Benjamin looked at them in silence the entire time. When the children were done drinking, they put down the glasses and ran back to Orissa again. Are you kids not going to eat? Benjamin asked. The children ignored him, and he arched a brow in response. With a smile on her face, Orissa glanced at Benjamin before looking back at the children. The children were already back to giving her a massage again. Sweethearts, are you hungry? They shook their heads in unison. We're not, Mommy. Mommy, what about you? Tim asked. I'm not hungry too, Orissa replied. Most of her time was spent sleeping and eating, so she was sure she had gained much weight over time. Tim beamed, and Orissa noted that he looked much healthier nowadays. Right then, William came over and realized the children were, indeed, with Orissa. Mrs. Graham, you're awake. Orissa nodded. I just woke up, and they came not long ago. As she spoke, she patted two of the children's heads. "Hello," the children greeted with smiles. William's heart melted. "Hello, kids." Turning to Orissa, William then said, "Old Mr. Graham and I saw them earlier when we were downstairs. I figured they were with you, Mrs. Graham, but old Mr. Graham thought they had gone to Sean." Orissa smiled and asked, "Dad doesn't know I'm here, right?" "No, I'm the only one who knows. Don't worry, Mrs. Graham. Old Mr. Graham doesn't know about this," William reassured before asking her about her health. He only relaxed upon finding out that she was fine. "Let's not let Dad find out about this yet. I don't want him to worry." "How is he now?" "Old Mr. Graham is doing much better." "No worries, Mrs. Graham. You take care," William said. Knowing that Darius missed the children, Orissa said to the children, "Sweethearts, go to your grandpa's first. Otherwise, Grandpa will find out that I'm in the hospital too." "But I want to be with Mommy," Jessie insisted. Orissa ruffled her hair. "Keep Grandpa company for a while. You can sneak over to visit Mommy later, okay?" "All right," Jessie relented although she was still a little reluctant to do so. Orissa pulled her over to give her a kiss. "Remember not to spill the beans, sweethearts." "Don't worry, Mommy. We'll keep this a secret for you," Zachary swore. Orissa spent a little more time with the children before asking them to head to Darius' ward with the butler. "Remember to keep great-grandaunt company too," she reminded. "Mrs. Graham, old Mr. Graham is currently with her," William informed. "Oh, that's good to hear," Orissa said, inclining her head. That way, the children would not forget to visit Mary and make Mary feel left out. "Mommy, rest well. We'll come back to keep you company later," Tim whispered to her. "Okay. Hurry up and visit great-grandaunt and grandpa now. See you later, Mommy." The children waved goodbye to her before following the butler downstairs.